everybody, I'm Chris and this is Jim and we're Midlife Travel Bug. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about Corfu Island and our time that we spent there.
This is going to be a complete travel guide for those that are going to Corfu Island. We're going to talk about the areas that we stayed, what we would do differently, and at the end of the video we're going to break down all of our costs for the 10 days that we stayed in Corfu.
And we were there during July, which is actually considered high season, so keep that in mind with our costs.
Now, Corfu is located in the northwest part of Greece. It's in the Ionian Sea, and it's just a half an hour ferry ride from Albania, and it's close to Italy as well. So you can get to Corfu from Italy via ferry, from Albania via ferry. There's cruise ships that come into Corfu, and it also has an international airport.
So we chose to fly from Rome, and a really quick flight. I think it took half hour, 45 minutes, and it was pretty cheap airline, Ryanair, and it was a great way to have a destination stop in Corfu.
So we stayed in 3 different areas of Corfu. We stayed in Corfu town, which was on the east coast, and then we moved over to the west coast and saw Paleokastritsa, and then we spent some time up north in Sadari and toured around the north part of the island.
Now, getting around the island is a little bit more tricky than we anticipated. When we first decided to go visit Corfu, we were originally going to just take the busing system, and it's pretty good. They have a green line that goes from Corfu town to all the destinations on the island, and we were originally going to do it that way. However, at the last minute, we decided to get a car rental instead, and I have to say that was probably our best decision just for a number of reasons. Number one, probably time. Number two, we also found out when we were there, the buses would go where we'd want to go, but the bus stop was often quite a distance or quite a hike up and down to the cities that we were trying to visit. So keep that in mind if you do go. I would suggest a car rental.
Yeah, there's also taxis available. Car rentals, taxis, you can rent motorbikes, and we saw some ATVs going around the island. It's a bigger island than we thought, and it's very mountainous.
So we were also there during an extreme heat wave in July as well. So we were grateful to have the car because it got us out of the heat and into the air-conditioned car for a little bit too.
So we started out in Corfu town, and we stayed a total of 3 nights in Corfu town. So there is the international airport there, and you can quickly take a bus right into downtown.
So for our accommodations in Corfu town, we used booking.com. We booked 3 nights in total, and it cost 159 Canadian per night. Now we were just on the edge of the old town, but closer to the ferry port area, which is entirely walkable to the old area.
Yeah, so Corfu town is a very walkable city. That's one of the things that we liked about it. There's lots to see and do when you're there. The 3 nights, we figured that was a good timetable for us because we got to see the different forts that were there. There's 2 different forts there. There's lots of beaches that you can go around and see. Lots of shopping in the downtown area, and obviously the restaurants are fantastic. So there's definitely a lot to see and walk around in there. There are cruise ships that come in and out, so it can get busier depending on if there's a cruise in town. But we felt that the 3 nights was like just a great amount of time that we stayed.
Yeah, we felt like it was enough time to see what we wanted to see, but beautiful city. So one thing you can also do in the area of the Corfu town is actually do some boat trips. So you can rent private boats and go on your own, or there's a bunch of tours there as well. So it's a great way to see some of the island.
And we did take the city bus when we were in Corfu town. That is something that you can get around as well if you wanted to see some different parts. So Paleokastritsa is about a 30-minute drive from Corfu town, but on the way we had a little more south from Paleokastritsa, and we went to a beautiful beach town, Agios Gorgios. Now this was a town that has a beautiful beach, very small town. We actually were quite surprised when we got there and thought that that would also be a great place to kind of make as a home base.
Yeah, I thought next time if we were to come back, we might choose to stay there instead of Paleokastritsa. It's a beautiful area as well, but we felt like it was a little bit more of a walkable beach town. So keep that in mind.
So we got to Paleokastritsa. We stayed there for 3 nights. And another beautiful area, spectacular views everywhere.
Kind of what you're there for, the beautiful bays with the clear blue water and the cliff lines.
Lots of beaches around, lots of hiking that you can do around there.
So we stayed at the Paleo Inn, and we stayed there for 3 nights. It was about $91 Canadian per night, so a little bit more affordable, but it was a very simple, basic hotel. But the highlight for us were the views, and it had a pool because it was smoking hot.
So the highway runs right through Paleokastritsa. It's very narrow, so there's cars going back and forth. You are walking quite a bit in that area, and you are higher up in the cliff line to get down to the beaches. So just keep that in mind. There's a little more walking in Paleokastritsa, and the parking is very difficult. However, absolutely amazing. There's a monastery that you could go see. There's lots of beautiful bays and beaches that you could go check out.
Little hilltop towns up and behind that we visited as well.
Yeah.
But we kind of got parked and just decided to not leave too much with the car, only because the parking was a premium. So
We went to a monastery one day when we were there, and then had a great lunch in a town called Ducatus, and that was fantastic as well. So if you do have a car, make sure you venture around there. Now 3 days again was plenty of time to see Paleokastritsa. You're gonna do some day trips out of there, but I think next
we felt
time,
like that was enough time there, but I think if we were to come back,
Yeah.
we would definitely stay in the other little town that we talked about.
yeah, so if you're tight on time, Paleokastritsa could be a day trip. You'll see a lot of things during the day trip, or 2 nights is plenty.
So from there, we drove up to the north part of the island to a town called Sidari and spent another 3 nights there. I think the cost there was about 138 Canadian per night.
So we stayed at the Wave Resort when we were in Sidari. It was a little bit out of the main center of Sidari.
But walkable at the same time.
Yeah, very walkable, great beach in front of us, and the Wave Resort was really a highlight of our stay. Had a nice pool. The restaurant was fantastic.
And the owners were very personable, so that was kind of nice. It was a family-run place to stay, and actually, if we went back to Corfu, which we hope to do, so we'll probably stay there again. So the things that you can do in Sidari are actually, there's some bunch of beaches you can visit. There's the beautiful, what's that channel called? I can't remember.
The Love Channel.
Love Channel.
Yeah, the Channel Amore.
The Channel Amore. Yeah, you can visit the cliffs, you can swim there, you can also take some day trips. Now, we took a day trip to Cassiope, which was another little small village with a beautiful beach and coastline, and the town itself was really beautiful. The other thing you can do there was a little bit more nightlife in Sidari. They had some local bars and bands and some beach clubs and stuff, which had a little bit more action than where we'd been staying in Paleokastritsa. So definitely a really nice place to stay, and I think we liked that area.
Yeah, and touching on having a car again, we were so grateful to see all these little small towns throughout the north part of the island, and even on the northwest part of the island where we visited. The views, the beaches, the bays, unbelievable.
Yeah, now we definitely didn't have enough time, and I think that if we did go back to Corfu, we would spend more time in the north, visiting some more of the areas and beaches that we didn't get to. But highly recommend it. So one thing to consider about booking hotels in Sidari, we did notice a lot of the hotels were set quite a ways back from the ocean or from the town. So when you're booking, keep that in mind. Now where we stayed just happened to be like a little bit out of town, and it was about I think a 1.5 kilometer walk maybe, but it was actually right on the beach. So keep that in mind. A lot of the hotels are actually set quite a ways from the town if you're not careful.
It is a very walkable area once you're closer to the center of town.
So now the fun stuff. We're going to break down the costs for our entire 10-day stay. We did have one more night in Corfu town at the end of our stay, just because we were waiting for a ferry to our next destination.
First, we're going to talk about the accommodations. So breaking that down, our total cost came to $1,305 Canadian for the 10-day stay.
Yeah, now definitely that was the bulk of our costs for this trip. Accommodations were substantially more than other places that we've stayed in the past, but maybe if we hadn't been there in July or August, it would probably, maybe shoulder season would be a little bit more affordable, but definitely worth it. It was a great place.
So the next category that we're going to talk about is our transportation, and this includes our 7-day car rental that we had, as well as a couple bus trips and the fuel that we used when we were around the island. Renting a car from Corfu town, dropping it off again in Corfu town on the way out. Our total was $324.10.
So not too bad. A little more expensive than usual as well, but I think for us, we were definitely grateful to have the car.
Yeah, we found a great deal from discovercars.com, which we've used many times now, and we do have a link down below in the description where you can get a discount on your vehicles as well.
So the next category is entertainment. Our total was 54 Canadian dollars, and what that included was entrance to the old fort and a pirate ship ride that we enjoyed on the water. So pretty low. We did a lot more walking around than we did activities, but didn't think that was too bad at all.
I think we also included the cost of the bathrooms at the Palio Kostritsa.
Yes, unfortunately, Jim has a weak bladder, and I think the cost of our bathroom visit seems to exceed a lot of the costs.
Yeah, we just put that in the
Yeah.
entertainment.
I think I'm just gonna have to start budgeting that in from now on, to be perfectly honest. Especially like €2 for a pee. That's like $3 Canadian. I think that's excessive.
Right?
And then our food, the fun part of it is the food costs. So it was $818 Canadian, and what that included were all of our meals. And also we ended up going to see a Greek night dinner. So there was a dance and a fire show, and there wasn't a charge for the actual activity.
Yeah.
All they required you to do was actually just come for dinner. So that was a pretty exciting time. And we do have to say the food in Greece, oh my goodness, excellent food. And we felt pretty reasonable compared to other cities we'd been to. And I guess having just come from Rome, the prices seemed pretty good to us.
Yeah, there's no shortage of great restaurants throughout the whole island of Corfu.
Yes.
So I don't think you'll be disappointed there. Now, we try to stay on somewhat of a budget. So we do go out for a nice dinner, but usually our lunch or whatever is going to be more on the bakery side of things, trying to find that cheap eat. And I think we did a pretty good job on the food. It roughly is about $80 a day that we spent Canadian, which we felt was pretty reasonable with the high season.
We definitely indulged too. Yeah, we didn't go without, like Jim said, we tend to eat out one bigger meal in the day and tend to hit the bakeries or just have snacks. The rest of the time,
Totally.
Coffee in the room kind of thing.
Yeah,
So.
and that included our wine costs as well. So.
Yes, which is
That was good.
part of what we like to do. We enjoy stopping for a happy hour and watching what's going on all around us, so not too bad. So our total cost for the entire 10-day stay was actually $2,501 Canadian. So typically more than we like to spend, but we were also there in the summertime, and quite honestly, it was worth every penny. We would definitely go back to Corfu, and I felt like we could have used a little bit more time on the island. It was beautiful. We had just a wonderful time. We'd also like to see the south part of the island, which we didn't have the opportunity to see, and some of the little towns that we just didn't quite get to. But
Yeah, I think going next time, now that we've been there, and if we would recommend, we would definitely spend probably more time up north, just because of all the beautiful beach towns and the bays and everything. It was way more chill of a vibe, we thought, up there as well.
Yeah.
For our age group, I would say.
And one thing that we appreciated with a lot of the beaches were that most of the time you just need a towel or you bring your own little chair, and there were some places that you had to pay for chairs, but you had the option, which was really nice too. The other thing that we wish we had done that we didn't do was you could rent little private boats and take them for the day yourself. I think if we were to go back, we would do that or make some time in the budget to do that as well. Looks like a fabulous thing to do for the day, or you could also pay for a tour and go with a group if you chose to as well. So
100%. So final thoughts, absolutely loved Corfu. We would spend more time in the north if we could. We would tour down to the south as well. Maybe a day less or 2 days less in Palio Kostritsa. And we just needed more time. It's an island that we could just go chill out there for a month, even longer.
Another recommendation, I would personally say if you go in the summertime, it's really hot and humid. So make sure you get a place with a pool, because I think that actually saved us for a little bit of the time that we were there. But if you have any questions, don't hesitate to give us a comment in the comments below. And we hope you liked this video. If you did, give us a thumbs up. We sure appreciate it. And we have a new destination in our next upcoming video.
We'll see you on the next video, guys, in a brand new place.
Thanks for watching.
Cheers.
Cheers.